So, this is what being human is, risking our lives for an animal that could be suffering even though we could be killed in the process. The dog will have gone without food for 3 days. At least common sense would value human life higher than that of a dog's, but I could not sit here and imagine its suffering. John pulled up a map on his iPhone. The house was less than a mile away. Before we left, the girls and Toby wished us luck. He would be staying behind just in case. Tom? Yes, darling, I said, loading a few things into my satchel. I have something for you. What's that? She came up to me on tiptoes and kissed me on the cheek. Come back quickly. I will be good and look after the cats. We might have a surprise for you when we come back. Her face lit up and she hugged me. We left the flat and jogged for 5 minutes to the car park. Got the house keys? John queried. I was notorious for leaving without them. I'm not an idiot, of course I have them. We jumped in and headed off. The drive took a lot longer than it should have done. Having to drive round corpses tends to ruin your early morning commute, but we pulled up outside with no incident. Right, I'm going ahead and you drive round till I call. Sound like a plan? Got it. Don't get your ass bit though. I would never let that happen. It's my best feature. Much better than your face anyway. I laughed and got out. The street was clear. It was a short road with about 15 houses in all, with well-maintained front gardens apart from the one I was heading to, which was overgrown wild and looked more like wasteland with the brown grass and overgrown hedge. I approached the door and knocked. I heard soft barking inside. The dog was okay. That cheered me up a bit. Instead of the front door, I unlocked the wooden side door, so I would not be noticed on the streets. I poked my head through. It seemed clear and I headed in. The back garden had been completely concreted over, looking more like an abandoned industrialized zone than a place to be enjoyed. It was bare with only a couple of wheelie bins and a 6-foot stone wall. I approached the glass sliding doors. The blinds were down so I could not see inside. This didn't worry me. The house looked secure, so I doubted anything was in there. I inserted the key and opened it up slowly and headed in. I was in the dining room. A large oak table with 6 chairs surrounded it. I closed the door behind me. It struck me as I was standing there, I had no idea if this dog was friendly. Oh, well, time to find out. I made my way out of the dining room and to the hallway. Squelch. I looked down. I had trodden in dog shit. Lovely. Then something came racing down the stairs and jumped up at me. I guess you're Duke then? The dog slobbered all over me. I bet you're starving. Come on then. I stood up and walked back into the dining room and fished some dry food and tinned food and poured it into a bowl. It stank worse than the dog shit. I trod in. Duke didn't seem to mind. He barked appreciation and proceeded to wolf it down as I got him some water. After feeding Duke, I went upstairs, pulled out a couple of travel bags. Jane had mentioned a few things we might find useful, as well as asking for some clothes. I piled all those in along with Duke's food and bowls when he was done. I pulled the lead from a nail in the wall. How about a walk? He jumped up again, obviously eager for me to attach it. Okay, ready? Woof. Great. I slid the back door open again and locked it behind me, but this time the garden wasn't as bare. There was one of them just standing looking at me. How did it get in? I locked the side door. It advanced at a run, not zombie human. As soon as this thought hit me, so did the human. He was a good deal bigger than me, at least a good half-foot and an extra 3 stones. We went back, and through the glass his head was trying to get my throat. He was trying to bite me. What the hell was this guy doing? I kneed him in the balls. A groan escaped his lips and he fell to the floor. Not a zombie moan, and the balls aren't their weakness. He was curled up in the fatal position, groaning. I walked over to him. Hey, you, snap out of it. He looked up and groaned. It was a good impression of a zombie moan, but this guy was definitely human. His eyes, he was bleeding. That meant the hurt was beating. I had an idea. I took a photo of him and turned to leave. He wasn't getting up soon. I picked up Duke's leash and the 2 travel bags, and my phone rang. Are you done? He asked. Urgency rang through his voice. What's happened? Toby just called. People are at our front door and they want in and are threatening to break the door down. Fuck, they're going to lead the damn thing straight to us. I'm good to go. Got the dog? You outside? Ready and waiting. I ran out into the street, opened the back door of the Fiesta, threw Duke and the bags in, closed the door. I hopped in the front. We have the rifle, right? I asked. John nodded as we sped for home. We decided not to park in the usual place but bring the car to the flats. Maybe the dead we attract would force the people away. We didn't have enough for ourselves, let alone more. We pulled up. I stepped out the car. The group was 10 strong, armed with an assortment of bats and knives, dressed in tracksuit bottoms, jeans and bargain basement t-shirts and coats. They turned as I stepped out. I'm sorry guys, but there is no more space here. We can't take anyone else, I said calmly and confidently. We're not asking. The biggest one, and obviously the leader, said. He had a blue and white tracksuit top, jeans and Adidas trainers on, and a woolly hat over what I think was a shaved head. Neither was I. The group laughed. Oh, so you're going to stop us? He advanced towards me. He had a crowbar in his hand. Actually, I hoped you would respond to my good manners and politeness. Another laugh erupted from the group. The man smiled. He was missing his left front tooth. He started to turn away, then suddenly, he swung the arm that had the crowbar at my head. I stepped back and staggered, just keeping my balance. The group roared with approval again. I dropped to a knee to regain my balance. The man advanced. He stuck his head down to my level. That was when I struck. The front drive was lightly graveled. I had gathered some up and threw it in his face. He staggered blindly, dropping his crowbar. I picked it up and smashed it into his stomach. He groaned, lowering his head. I booted him in the face. He went down. His group looked shocked. Take your friend here and get out. The group looked in 2 minds, then a bang rang out. I looked towards the car. John was out and had the rifle perched on the edge. First shot's in the air, second blows your face off, he said. The group took off running, only delayed by helping their boss up and carrying him away. He was cursing loudly. Never knew you were such a good negotiator, I said. It's amazing how much more reasonable people are when you can blow their heads off. We chuckled, phoned Toby to let us in, unpacked the car and entered. Turns out Toby was right by the front door with the shotgun. The girls and Sky had taken refuge upstairs. They had managed to keep Sky in the dark over what was happening. We explained to the girls what had happened and took turns petting the dog, Sky obviously being the most enthusiastic. I headed into Jane's room to test an idea. I knocked. Come in. Jane was flicking through one of the magazines. I got you a present. Duke barreled into the room, slobbering on his owner, delighted to see her. After 5 minutes of baby noises, the greyhound settled down and rested his head on her lap, eyes half closed. I sat down on the floor. The creature that attacked you, would you recognize it? If you saw it again, I inquired. I could never forget that thing, it was so different from the others. Describe it to me. Why? Because you may not be infected. The answer struck her into silence. She quickly recovered and described the one that attacked me at the house to a T, from the look in its eye, the clothes, the way it moved. I showed her pictures of zombies on my phone. She instantly picked out the one that attacked me at the house again. That was a human, I said. How do you know? She replied. I kicked it in the crotch and it muttered, "Oh fuck. Jesus Christ, don't think normal zombies do that. So, I can come out and stay here now, unlocked from the radiator." The look of hope in her eyes was powerful. I said yesterday, if you weren't infected there would be a vote. You're not infected, so there will be a vote. She nodded glumly and looked at the dog. He seemed happy. We are gonna eat, then we will all come in and discuss what to do next, okay? She nodded. We ate, then the politics began. Everyone had a chance to say their part, but Jane would not get a vote. We voted and the decision was in.